6 years ago, I started some kiwi seeds in the hopes of getting some kiwi vines or trees that one day would produce some fruit. Today's video is going to be the 6-year anniversary of when I started those seeds. Hey everyone, it's Rob the Backyard Gardener and welcome back to my channel. Like I said in the intro, today's video is going to be updating you on my 6-year-old kiwi vines that I started from seed way back in May of 2016. Now the vines are now 6 years old and I've got about 8 or 9 different plants I'm going to show you, talk a little bit about where they're at. We've solved some of the nutrient deficiencies from the last update a year ago. We have a lot new foliage. We've kind of moved some plants around to make space for them to vine out. And more importantly, we're really getting into that time of their growth cycle when maybe we might see some flowers. As a quick reminder, kiwi vines grown from seed typically take at least 4 to 7 years to produce flowers, and sometimes they never do. Also of note is you have to remember that kiwi trees and kiwi vines are not self-pollinating. You need at least a male and a female flowering plant in order to produce fruit. So I've been hedging my bets, keeping all 8 or 9 of these alive in hopes that once they start flowering, maybe we'll have at least one male or at least one female and the rest the other. That way we can get some fruit. I've talked long enough. Let's flip the camera around and take a look at these kiwi vines and how much bigger they've gotten. So I wanted to give you guys a quick look at the kiwis that we've grown from seed. Here's a quick look at the one that is doing the best. And its trunk has sent out several different shoots from it. And I'm going to keep them like that because I really want to try to encourage a lot more growth this year on this plant as far as thickening the trunk. So maybe we could set some fruits next year. We'll have to see. But this is the first one I want to show you. And what I've done is I've kind of just intertwined it along some of the trellising we have here, just to give it an area to branch out because these things vine like crazy. I really love the way that these velvety looking leaves look, and I've been searching these plants over the last couple of years for any signs of possibly any flowering buds. I haven't seen them. Typically kiwis break a little bit later, mid to late April, early to mid-May, and so far we haven't had any of that action, although the plants are definitely at the age where we might start seeing some flower buds. We have yet to see any yet. I know this is not the best setup for kiwi vines. Typically you want a 2 trellis system and you want to have a couple of different male and female versions of the plants, but because we grew these from seed, we're unaware of whether or not these are actually male or female plants until they set or produce any flowers. But this is the one I'm most proud of, and I'll just take a second to pan around and let you guys take a good look at it so that way you can see how well it's doing on this side of the yard this year. I'll also make note that I did notice that the leaves that came out very first early in the season definitely don't look as healthy, but when those first came out and they were yellow, I did add a little bit of a balanced 10-10-10 fertilizer to the soil, mixed it in. I also gave it an Epsom salt spray on the foliage, as well as added a little bit of Epsom salt mixture to the soil as well, just to give it some other minerals that maybe it was lacking. And it seems to have done the trick because it definitely is a lot more greener now and a lot more vibrant in color. And despite the wind, it only has a few damaged leaves, which is good. So that's the first kiwi that I wanted to show you. Like I said, because we grew from seed and because we don't know if we have male or females, I've decided to keep a lot of the plants here intact. We have another one right here, one right there, one back there, one right here, and another one right there. These are all smaller. I've been trimming these down to keep them away from my Gala apple tree, but they've done really well over here considering how moist the ground always stays. And no matter how much I try to control the watering, this slope that I have, all the water comes to right here. I even had to put a pipe in the ground, a French drain, to get the water to stay from coming through and just sitting here on this side of the yard. Hopefully, now that we have the French drain put in and the water issues might be resolved, we'll see some progress on this one. I've left it wrapped around this part of the gate just to give it something to move onto, but inevitably it will start trying to grab this apple tree, and I'll have to constantly keep chopping it off there. I have to work with the space I have, and I don't have a lot of space, but I want to grow as many of these kiwi plants as possible so that we can get some that flower, and then we can use those flowers to determine if we have at least one male and one female, so that way possibly if it does flower and we have both genders, then we can go ahead and see if we can get some pollination and get some fruit. The final kiwi I want to show you is one I've relocated over here. You'll recall in previous updates, it was out here, but we put this raised bed for my wife's cut flower garden. So we had to relocate it, and we put it over here. And when I first relocated it, I thought for sure it was going to perish, but actually it's done pretty good. It's taken a while for this one to break buds because I think it has transplant shock. And I also relocated a second one right here, and it took a while because of the transplant shock, but it's definitely starting to come around now. So we've got quite a few plants. In total, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I have another one on the other side of the yard that I'm not going to show you today because it hasn't broken its buds, because it's not in the best spot, but I've not taken it out. It just is kind of stagnant, and it's kind of shaded by a magnolia tree. But anyway, I just want to give you guys a quick update on the kiwis to show you how they're doing. I think they're doing fantastic. I'm really hoping that this is the year they put on some size. They like their new spots. We got the water issues fixed, and maybe between now and the next 12 to 24 months, we start seeing some flowers, identify what gender the plants are, and maybe get some fruits. I know I said I wouldn't update this kiwi vine, but I did notice that it did break its buds. And as you can see, it's pretty much just hidden back here because of this magnolia tree. I have ceased any pruning on it whatsoever and figured I'd just let it vine around the magnolia tree. And if you peek inside the magnolia tree, you will be able to see that there are a few spots where we do have some kiwi leaves showing up. And again, I know that's not ideal. I probably just need to chop it and let it die off. But man, unless it starts strangling the magnolia tree, I think I'm just gonna let it grow up there and see what happens. You never know. This was the first one I put in the ground, so maybe it'll be the first one to flower. So I'm not gonna mess with it right now. If we get flowers on the other ones, then I can cut this one away and remove it from this side of the yard. But in the meantime, we'll just let it be here. Anyway, it's nothing to really show off here. It's back here in the corner. And again, it's not in the best spot, but we're just gonna leave it for now until it becomes a problem or until it flowers. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's Kiwi Vines Grow from Seed update, guys. They're 6 years old, or really they're about 2 weeks away from 6 years old. We'll call them 6 years old for today's update. I do plan on updating you on my pear trees grown from seed, my avocado trees grown from seed, and of course all of my citrus I've grown from seed over the next week. If you enjoyed today's update video, and if you're not a subscriber, I encourage you to consider subscribing if you're enjoying these Grown from Seed series. That really helps out the channel, and we're almost at 100,000 subscribers reached, which is pretty cool. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give me that thumbs up. And as always, happy gardening, and thanks for watching.